Hello, good evening and welcome to the race where tonight these celebrities that I will name in just a moment will be trying to beat Chris Froome, the four-time Tour de France champion, in a bike race. Now, it sounds impossible, but not when you give each and every one of them a slight advantage. Just like in golf and in horse riding, they'll have a handicap to make things a little bit easier. Now, for obvious reasons, they can't go out and about on the real road, so instead they'll be taking part in the volcano climb in the wonderful world of Zwift. Now, in just a moment, we will meet them, but we also want to remind you they're doing it for a very special cause, Wheels for Heroes. They have been getting involved, they have been warming up, and they have been taking things very, very seriously. Look at them all. There's slight nerves about a few of them, but lots and lots of enthusiasm for this brilliant cause. Now, we will catch up with them in just a moment, but here's a quick reminder of why we're all here.
Before I got the Brompton bike, I had never ridden in London very much.
I don't know anyone who likes it on the tube, but it's been great when the roads have been quieter. It's made me feel comfortable to cycle.
I think cycling will surprise people. It's fun. It is a great way to get more exercise into your normal everyday activities.
The roads have been quieter and there's cycle lane. It's just made me a little bit more confident.
I've been able to go from where I live to work safely. The recognition that there's some kindness out there that someone donated, it honestly has transformed my life, but from everyone that I've already given it to a new one, and they've said it's just transformed their life.
We need to get the infrastructure into the hospitals to reach some parts of the country we can't get to at the moment. It was a slight surprise to hear that Kevin Pietersen and Chris Froome were doing an amazing event and decided they wanted to back our campaign.
Because we're in the middle of it still. We're still working behind the scenes, and the Brompton bike is a bit of happiness and a bit of fun that keeps us going. And thank you everyone that's done it.
Well, it really is a really brilliant cause, and if you want to get involved and you want to donate, you can do. Here are the ways that you can do it. Just go to crowdfunder.co.uk/Wheels for Heroes. It is why we are all here. And joining me now are the two men who made this all happen. It is, of course, former England cricket star and also the man responsible for bringing all of these celebrities together in one place, and Chris Froome, a cyclist of his generation who's just been reminded something with a mobile phone in the corner of his screen. I'm not sure what that is. Perhaps that's Kevin Pietersen's times or his handicap. Kevin, we'll come to you in just a moment, but Chris, just remind us now, why are we doing this all for Wheels for Heroes, and why is it so important for you?
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously the NHS are doing such a vital job for us at the moment, and giving them a safe transport mode to be able to get in and do their jobs is key at the moment. So. Not only that, but we're getting more people on bikes as well, which is a big part of our team ethos. So, yeah, I mean, the two things just tied up, and this was just an amazing opportunity to try and do something good.
Kevin, for you, competitive is perhaps an understatement. I looked at your Instagram earlier on. You've already popped up a bottle of bubbly. You're feeling quite confident, aren't you?
I had it at lunch, Laura, actually. No, you know what? It's just amazing that so many of these guys have given enough of their time to say, yes, I'm going to go and sweat, and I'm going to absolutely give it hell for leather for such a great cause for an hour. I think you're going to see proper pain in people that you haven't seen proper pain. I mean, Lee Westwood graces the fairways with his beautiful physique, but he walks. He doesn't cycle. Freddie Flintoff, and we've seen Freddie on his knees celebrating wickets, but we've seen Freddie on a bike. There's Olly Murs, he looks beautiful with his peroxide hair. What's going to Steph Houghton, I mean, how good. England woman captain, and we're going to see her here absolutely going for it. It's just amazing, and I can't thank them enough for participating.
OK, guys, thank you very much, and good luck as well. It is a brilliant cause. There's also a handicap, as we mentioned earlier on. Here's Kevin Poulton, our resident cycling expert, to tell us about how it all works.
To keep the race fair and to give everyone a competitive chance of crossing the line first, we handicap the event. This means that the strongest rider starts last, giving a head start to the slower competitors. We first need to assess how strong each rider is, and to do this we measure their FTP. To measure their FTP, their functional threshold power, we use the ramp test on Zwift. The ramp test consists of warming up, and then every minute the power increases by 20 watts until the rider reaches exhaustion and they can pedal no further. From this maximal effort, we get an accurate measurement of their fitness, and we can then compare this to the other competitors in the event. We can use a computer program which will provide us with a very accurate estimated finishing time of each rider over the course. We then look at the gaps of these finishing times, and this gives us the perfect handicapping system to bring all of our riders together in the last few minutes of the race.
So that is how the handicap works. We are nearly ready to go racing. Let's catch up with our commentary team, Matt Stevens, and of course our special guest, Ramesh Ranganathan. First of all, Matt, how excited are you about this and how competitive do you think it's going to be?
Well, I'm very, very excited indeed. Glad to be here along with everybody else. But I think all of these competitors are treating it very, very seriously. I've been doing a bit of a dive on social media over the last couple of days. They've all been training hard, and as we saw from the VT from Kevin Poulton there, they've all had to go through a very, very difficult FTP test, which are absolutely brutal, and that just shows the level of dedication. They're all at different kind of levels of fitness, but the playing field has been leveled because of the handicap system, and I think everybody is going to give more than 100%. I think, as KP said, there's going to be a lot of tears, a lot of sweat today.
Ramesh, we are looking forward to your expert views on cycling, but first of all, didn't you fancy taking part?
I did, but I just thought there wasn't going to be a big enough handicap for me to really compete, to be honest with you, Laura. I know people would have been keen to go up against me, but we couldn't make it happen, sadly.
Well, we get the next best thing from you. Ramesh, Matt, thank you very much. Let's have a little look at the course, the Volcano Climb. Matt is going to talk you through it.
Welcome to the wonderful world of Watopia and the tropical climbs in which tonight's race will take place. Our 10 celebrities will start one after another with start times based on our scientifically proven handicap system. Hot on their heels will be 4 times Tour de France winner Chris Froome, hunting them down. All our celebs need to do is get to the finish line first without being caught. Easy. Every ounce of effort our racers squeeze out on their bikes at home translates directly onto these roads, and they're going to need everything that they've got if they're going to stay away from Froome on this course. Behold, the Volcano Climb. Our racers will ride through underwater tunnels, the marina and the Italian village before taking on the 3.7 kilometre climb up and through the volcano, over the top, before they head towards the sprint finish. Tactics will be everything in this handicap race. Save too much for the end and you'll get caught. Go too hard too soon and it'll all be over on the climb. Best of luck.
OK, it's time to get into the race then. This is Wheels for Heroes, the race. And just a reminder, it's completely live, so absolutely anything can happen. Now let's hand you over to your commentary team, Ramesh, but first, Matt.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Laura. It's not going to be very long before our first rider is underway, and that's Steph Houghton. She is the Manchester City and England captain. The countdown begins for Steph.
Off you go, Steph.
So Steph is off. Steph has gone. Look at that. Straight into the zone for Steph.
Good luck, Steph.
And next up is Kirsty Gallacher, only 30 seconds behind. You can just see her avatar there. Beautiful grey kit. She's really accelerated like a rocket out of the blocks there, Ramesh. What are your thoughts as we look at, of course, this is Kirsty. 3, 2, 1, and Kirsty's off.
Off you go, Kirsty.
Well, Kirsty is gone as well. So we've got a couple of minutes until Darren Gough goes. But Ramesh, what are your thoughts? These two riders have gone out of the blocks like hell for leather. An incredible start. But
it is an amazing start. I mean, is it psychologically you'd want to be going early, wouldn't you? I mean, obviously you're getting the advantage as well, but waiting on the starting line has got to be tough, hasn't it?
Yeah, I know they've had a WhatsApp group talking to each other over the last couple of days, and apparently all of them have never been quite as nervous. I'm just nervous watching them as well. I mean, we've got some interesting time gaps here, but what do you think? I mean, I've seen the inside of your man cave, Ramesh. You've got a bit of a bike hidden in plain sight. What would be your thoughts on how these two riders are handling the course so far?
Well, I have got a bike, but I've got to be honest with you, Matt, it's sort of a clothes dryer at the moment, so I couldn't really offer any advice, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, just a little bit about the course here as we look at Steph Houghton. Well into her stride now. Got a nice rhythm going. Very obviously an exceptionally fit athlete. Started off as a striker, then went into midfield, and now plays at centre-back. Number 6 normally for Manchester City. But look at that, all their stats on the bottom of your screen for you to see there. 165 watts, that is a measure of the power that she's putting out. 98 RPM, well, that's revolutions per minute of the pedals. And then you can see her heart rate, 157 beats per minute, which equates to 40 kilometres an hour, which is about 25 miles an hour. And Ramesh, has your heart rate ever been that high, mate?
I think there was a time when I just finished a tour show and we were trying to get to the curry house before it shut afterwards. And I've got to be honest with you, it's pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah, definitely nerve-wracking stuff. We've got another couple of riders warming up. I mean, a warm-up on this course is crucial, but a bit of a reminder of what the riders are going to face. It's 22.7 kilometres, relatively flat to gently undulating for the first few kilometres. They actually go under the sea through a glass panel, then they come out again the other side, and then the big volcano climb looms. It's 3.7 kilometres with an average gradient of 3%, which doesn't seem too bad. But Ramesh, the final part of that climb is like a wall. It's 10% gradient, which is going to be exceptionally hard for these riders. So Steph Houghton out on the course, looking very, very good.
Darren Gough is off now.
Oh, Darren's off.
Darren's off. Darren.
Go on, Goughy.
And just Darren Gough.
Nice,
Just to let you know, guys, Darren Gough is my absolute tip for the top. I've been watching his prep for this. I think he's my dark horse choice.
Let's get Olly Murs. He's off as well. 3, 2, 1 for Olly Murs.
Olly Murs is off.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, Olly Murs is off as well. Olly is out on the course, not too far at all behind Darren Gough. And there is Olly. Look at that, calm, confident, still putting out just 300 watts, looking very, very good. And Mel C is next up, Ramesh. They're coming thick and fast at the moment. So it should be Mel.
They certainly are. So do you think you're just about focusing on yourself here, Matt, or are you worried about the others, do you think?
It's all about yourself. But we've got Melanie C in the podium now. Well, in the pen, should I say. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Off you go, Melanie.
Spice up your life, Melanie.
Come on, Melanie. Look at there we go. That's the kit that Melanie C has gone for. Beautiful kit there. And there's the power she's putting out. Great picture-in-picture shot of Melanie C there. Just under 300 watts. She's looking good, isn't she?
She's looking very, very good. She looks calm. She looks poised. I think she's in good form.
It's this thing.
I mean, how would you approach a circuit like this, Ramesh? You said you've got a bike. You've ridden a little bit in the past. How would you pace it?
Well, my first strategy would try and call in sick, if I can. But then if I was then forced to get involved, I would go very, very slow early doors just to sort of ascertain what job I've got later on in the race. That would kind of be my approach, Matt.
Well, thank you very much indeed. We've got around 10 seconds or so now before Maro Itoje, the rugby player, comes out. He is exceptionally powerful. 3, 2, 1, and Maro Itoje, 25 years of age. Well, an absolute powerhouse, of course, plies his trade for Saracens Premiership Club. I mean, the biggest, most powerful rider, and there he is, picture-in-picture.
Yeah. Maro and Gough probably the most similar in terms of physique and structure.
I think so, definitely. I mean, there's going to be some serious watts. He's enjoying this. 3, 2, 1. Ryan Giggs next. Ryan Giggs should be on the course. Well, Ryan Giggs should be on the course as well. So there is the picture of Maro Itoje, 310 watts. And already, Ramesh, very, very impressed by the amount of power that Maro is putting out.
So that's a high number, is it there, Matt? I mean, I normally stay in sort of double figures. So we're looking at 275, going up to 300 there.
It is. Well, we'll talk about the figures in a little bit, but let's just for a few seconds throw back to Laura in the studio. Back to you, Laura.
Matt, thank you very much. 7 celebrities down, 3 to go. And then, of course, we unleash Chris Froome. And he has been giving our celebs a few tips this morning. Have a look at this.
I can see everyone's getting pretty nervous about this evening's race. So I just thought I'd share a little bit of advice. I mean, I woke up this morning and was pretty nervous as well. And actually the best thing to do is to get out onto your bike or get onto your stationary bike and just ride as hard as you can for at least half an hour. So that really gets the legs warmed up and will definitely help calm your nerves. And yeah, if you haven't done 100 squats today, you should definitely think about doing that as well. So do about 100 squats as deep as you can, and your legs will be feeling fantastic this evening. Trust me.
So tips there from the master and perhaps a few mind games as well. Let's see our next 3 celebs in action and hand you back to your commentary team, Matt and Ramesh.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Laura. I mean, I'm interested just listening to that VT from Chris Froome there, Ramesh, about his advice. I mean, OK, half an hour warm-up on the bike, fine, but those lunges, sounds a bit crazy to me.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I totally fell for that. When he was talking about the half-an-hour ride, I thought, OK, he's being nice and he's giving me some advice. It was only when he started talking about the lunges, I thought actually he's been a little bit less gentlemanly than I thought it was going to be.
Indeed. Well, there you go. It's like underhand tactics there from the 4 times Tour de France champion, who, when we look at this first rider off, Steph Houghton, he is 13 minutes and 52 seconds behind. That is the amount of handicap he has got to make up as we look at Olly Murs on our screen now. Of course, a singer-songwriter, one of the most famous popsters on the planet, without a shadow of a doubt. And what do you think to his kit? I mean, you're a man who likes a bit of fashion, Ramesh. What do you reckon to the garb that Olly Murs has chosen tonight?
Well, listen, Matt, I think he's making a statement. I wouldn't like to say what that statement is, but it's definitely being made, you know?
It certainly is being made. But just in relation to the screen that you can see, ladies and gentlemen, if you just look down the right-hand side, Steph Houghton is still out in front. She's actually opened up 40 seconds, where it's actually 10 seconds to the good. She started off 30 seconds in front of Kirsty Gallacher. She's pulled out 10 seconds, and then Mel C, 2 minutes and 18 seconds behind. Now, Melanie C has closed up quite a good gap, so Mel C at the moment really eating up the tarmac at the moment.
And
so
Lee Westwood is off.
Well, Lee Westwood's gone. Well, Lee Westwood is now out of the pens, and let's have a look at Lee Westwood. Now, Ramesh, for me, Lee Westwood is the real dark horse. He's been putting out some spectacular numbers, you know, really sort of transforming that form on the golf course out onto the bike.
Yeah, and it certainly takes a confident man to rock that vest on the bike as well. So I've got a lot of faith in him.
Indeed. We've only got around 10 seconds before Freddie Flintoff goes off. So 10 seconds now for Flintoff as we look at Westwood just going under the seat. 3, 2, 1 for Freddie Flintoff. He should burst out of the pens. Come on, Freddie.
Come on, Freddie. Give it time.
Let's have a look at that.
Come on, Freddie.
Well, Ramesh, this is a rider you know very, very well. What do you think of his form, his hair, in fact, at these early stages of the race?
Well, I would Freddie is a great competitor, obviously an incredible sportsman. His hair I would describe as unacceptable, but that is certainly not going to stop him in this race.
It certainly isn't. Well, we've got to one more rider. KP is next up. He's in the grid, the final rider before Chris Froome. 3, 2, 1 for Kevin Pietersen.
Kevin Pietersen is off.
He should be putting out some very, very big numbers. There is Kevin Pietersen. Some big, big numbers from Peter. Looking good. And there we go. 450 watts. Well, wow. He's looking good.
Wow,
well,
that is incredible,
before we
right?
all the riders, apart from Chris Froome, are out on the road. Let's take our first commercial break. Please do not go away. Lots of exciting riding still to come. Welcome back. Chris Froome on the grid, ready to go. 3, 2, 1. Chris Froome, you can go. 13 minutes and 52 seconds to make up on Steph Houghton right at the front. All of our riders are now on the course, and we should get a shot of Chris Froome. There he is. Look at that. That familiar style of Chris Froome, spinning those pedals low at the front of the bike, as aerodynamic as possible. All of our riders now, Romesh, are out on the course. The chase has begun.
How much pressure do you think Chris Froome's going to be feeling professionally on this to try and catch these riders?
I think he's going to be feeling pretty nervous. I mean, he's taken this day pretty seriously. He's been warming up for at least 45 minutes beforehand. He's got his fueling strategy right as well, but he's just building himself into this. But, I mean, if you were Chris Froome, Romesh, and you'd won the Tour de France 4 times, would you want to be beaten by any of these riders?
Well, I just think it's a massive he's really rolled the dice on even taking part in this. I mean, it's fair credit to him for taking part, because it is, you know, it is his reputation at stake here in this race.
It certainly is, and it's just worth mentioning again that you can donate that strap at the bottom of your screen. That's to help raise money for Wheels for Heroes, a very, very worthy cause indeed. But Chris Froome is out on the course, and in a moment we'll talk through the template here, talk through what Zwift is all about and the graphics that you're seeing. On your screen now is Steph Houghton. She was the first rider out of the blocks, and she, actually, Romesh, it's worth mentioning her. She's put in a superb ride. She started off with only 30 seconds advantage from Kirsty Gallacher, and she's opened that out now to 1 minute and 16 seconds. That's mightily impressive, isn't it?
That is very impressive indeed. I imagine, well, I'm hoping that she's left enough in the tank to keep this going. Fingers crossed.
Indeed, well, that's one of the most important things about doing this sort of effort in riding and in running indeed, but you've got to make sure you pace your effort. If you start out too fast, you risk blowing, and I think we're looking at some of these riders taking around 45 to 50 minutes, so pacing strategy absolutely vital. Now, on the right-hand side, you can just see the positions of the riders on the road. So Steph Houghton still out in front with 0 seconds, and then 1 minute and 17 seconds behind her is Kirsty Gallacher, and then the riders that have gone off are just behind her. CHISHOLM, Olly Murs, Darren Gough, Itoje, of course. Now, just above that positions graphic, you can just see a percentage sign, and that is the gradient that the riders are on. Top of your screen, you can just see the checkered flag. 14.1 k's to go for the lead rider. 8.9 kilometres under the wheels already, and that's the clock on the right-hand side. That's 16 minutes and 32 seconds. So, I mean, Romesh, we're sat in the comfort of our lofts and our various spare rooms at home watching these riders, but this is going to be very, very painful indeed, isn't it?
It is going to be extremely painful. I tell you what, my tip for the top, Darren Gough, is taking an interesting strategy of dropping back a couple of positions so he can see the race ahead of him, and then I'm pretty confident he's going to make his move a little bit later on. I'm feeling very certain of that.
Indeed, well, look at this. This is Lee Westwood versus Maro Itoje. You can just see the stats towards the bottom of the screen there. 300 watts for Lee Westwood. That's the power that these riders are generating, which translates into speed on the road. But these two riders are together. Itoje is on the wheel of Lee Westwood. Now, in real life, out on the open road, if you sit behind another rider, you'll get the benefit of their slipstream. And that's replicated in-game in Zwift as well. So, Romesh, at the moment, Maro Itoje is getting a toe off the former world #1 golfer. Incredible scenes.
So Maro is essentially vampiring Westwood's power in this section of the race. Is that right?
It's like Westwood is like a lorry on the M1, and he's like a Mini Cooper sat behind him. That's basically the easiest analogy.
That is a hell of a Mini Cooper, though, I'll tell you that.
It's definitely a turbo Mini Cooper, but he's drawn alongside him now. These riders matched evenly, and now Westwood was my dark horse tip as we go back a little bit further down the road to see how Chris Froome is progressing. Now, remember, he had a deficit of 13 minutes. He's already eaten. Well, it says he's eaten it 5 minutes into this lead. If that is true, he has, well, incredible scenes. It just shows how strong this man is, Romesh. He's already taken 5 minutes out of Steph Houghton.
This is unbelievable. I mean, I did not expect him to be doing this quickly. I really didn't.
Well, it just shows he's one of the finest riders of his generation. Of course, 4 times Tour de France champion, but a quite remarkable ride by Houghton still at the front. Kirsty Gallacher in second position. Let's see if we can have a little look at how Melanie C is doing as well. She's holding steady in third position, but it's Lee Westwood who's breathing down her neck. And there we go, Olly Murs on the right-hand side, Chris Froome on the left. And I tell you what, though, Romesh, I'm so impressed. I mean, Olly Murs there. I mean, he's a pop star for crying out loud, but look at the way he's applying himself there. Amazing power as we go through the centre of the volcano.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for Olly to be taking part alongside all these sports people, it takes guts, so fair play to him. He looks a little bit like he might be struggling, but that just could be his natural sort of facial expression. I don't know. I can't quite tell.
I mean, if Olly Murs was listening to you now, I think he might be. He is smiling to us. What tip, what bit of advice, because I know you're into your sports, Romesh. I mean, you're a man of the world. What advice, what tips would you give to Olly Murs at the moment?
Olly, listen, this is coming directly from Romesh. I just want to say, mate, just keep your head up and carry on what you're doing. The whole country's behind you, mate, however many people are watching. You know, good luck to you, mate. You're doing brilliantly.
Wonderful words of wisdom there from Romesh there. We're just going through the centre of the volcano. Very, very warm. So important here, Romesh, that these riders are well ventilated, especially when you've got lava to your left and your right. Have you ever seen anything quite like it?
Well, I haven't. I was going to ask you, actually, how often do these rides through the centre of the volcano happen? I wasn't aware that that was part of the sport.
They actually will pass through later on. They'll go over the top of the volcano, then pass back through the centre. And this is a battle that we're having at the sharp end of the race. Melanie C on the left-hand side, Team Sporty. I'm going to say it now. I'm going to lay my cards on the table. Always been my favourite Spice Girl. She's looking great. Look at that, Team Sporty. Big salute there. And Kirsty Gallacher on the right-hand side. Not much between these riders. In fact, Romesh, there's only 6 seconds between Melanie C and Kirsty Gallacher at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm still reeling, Matt, from your blatant attempt to suck up to Mel C there. That was pretty shameless, mate, if I'm being
Sorry
honest
about
with
that,
you.
bud. I mean, a big fan of Kirsty Gallacher as well, but great to see that battle there. Very, very close indeed. Only 5 seconds between Melanie CHISHOLM and Kirsty Gallacher, but still an amazing rider by the Manchester in England captain. Steph Houghton out in front on her own. Absolutely superb. Let's go a bit way back through. Let's see how KP is getting on at the moment. He's at 3 minutes and 7 seconds. And as we know, Romesh, KP has already got the champagne and ice. That, to me, is a statement and a half.
Well, listen, KP has been training for a long time for this. I mean, he's been involved in the organisation of this. A part of that is to shower himself in glory as he rides on to victory. We all know that. So he's absolutely determined. He's 100% determined to smash this.
But if you just look, there is KP. He's gone for a rather fetching kit, sort of kind of a brown and black kind of setup there. And he's certainly been working out. Look at the biceps on his avatar. Never seen anything quite like it. But there's Kevin Pietersen putting out a lot of power there.
I would say it's probably, of all of the races, the greatest disparity between avatar and real physique that we're seeing in the race at the moment.
I think that is based purely on fact indeed. Let's have a look at the gap now, because Chris Froome is 9th on the road. Just look to the right-hand side. Look at the positions. Froome now is only 1 minute and 53 seconds behind KP, his nemesis. Froome now is eating up the tarmac. I wonder, I mean, Kevin Pietersen's definitely going to be sweating, but I think he's going to be psychologically sweating as well, Romesh.
Well, he's been talking the big talk before this, KP. So if Froome overtakes him this early on, I think it's going to be a devastating blow for him. I don't know if he'll have it in him to try and chase him back.
I think that's the thing. I mean, you've got to be physically fit, Romesh, but you have to be mentally resilient, mentally tough as well. And this is going to be a test of that, not just physical resilience, but how they kind of face up to what happens afterwards as well, how they can hold their heads high in public, quite honestly.
Well, I was often told, actually, Matt, that I had the physical ability, the mental ability to become a sports person. It's just the physical side of things that sort of let me down. But I did used to think that I might have a future in it, actually.
Well, I think there's still, I mean, maybe we can do one of these in a year's time and we can get you fit, get you on a programme, Romesh, and get you on the platform. But meanwhile, Olly Murs, hopefully, he's got a window open at home. He's going through the lava flow at the moment, through the centre of the volcano. 10.5 kilometres to go now. So well over half distance. Still Steph Houghton out in front. Melanie C still chipping away. She's now opened up a gap, Romesh, on 3rd place. Kirsty Gallacher falling back a little bit as we look at Lee Westwood. I mean, talk us through what you think about Lee Westwood at the moment. I mean, that vest, I mean, as you said, that's a statement. But what about his cadence? The way his legs are moving, Romesh?
Well, I just think that he cut such a beautiful picture. I mean, I had no idea that Lee Westwood was such an attractive man. For him to put that vest and shorts on and to just rock his physique in that way, I've got to tell you, I've discovered a new dimension in him, and I'm a bigger fan than I was beforehand, I'll be honest with you.
Of course, Lee Westwood hails from a workshop, 47 years of age now, looking very good. I mean, what we call that technique is basically brute force. We call it low cadence, high torque. He's on the climb now as we move back to the figure of Kirsty Gallacher, 155 watts. Again, just on the bottom left of the screen there, that's the amount of power she's putting through the pedals. 93 RPM, that's the revolutions a minute. And look, I mean, what you can't fault, Romesh, is the amount of effort that every single one of these runs is putting in. Just look at the face on Kirsty there.
Yeah, I mean, she's absolutely going for it. It is very impressive. It's you've got to admire the dedication. They're not messing about here.
None of these riders are messing about at all. I mean, absolutely faultless dedication and also entertainment, entertaining us through this very, very difficult time. A fascinating scenario is playing out. We're well over halfway, only 10 kilometres to go now. We are going to throw to, well, back to Laura in at the studio. It's action-packed. Well, I need to lie down.
Matt, thank you very much. 10K to go. Don't go anywhere. Quick break. And when we come back, the conclusion of the race. Welcome back to the race. We are into the final few minutes. So far, brilliant performances from the likes of Mel C and Steph Houghton. KP also doing pretty well. Chris Froome is on the chase and they haven't even reached the hill climb yet. Let's get back into it for the final push with your commentators, Matt and Ramesh.
Thank you very much indeed, Laura. I don't know about you, Ramesh. During the ad break there, we were plumbed into the breathing of all of these riders. It felt like a series of dodgy phone calls that we were here eavesdropping in on.
Yeah, I mean, it was so full on. I had to take a little break from it, to be honest with you. It was incredible.
A little bit of pressure, but a little bit of sad news that's come in. Unfortunately, Ryan Giggs, he is well, it's not no longer with us. He's had a virtual puncture, unfortunately, so he's still gamely pedalling away, but unfortunately will not figure in the final rankings today. But there's been a lot of changes on the leaderboard. Just look to your right-hand side. Look how close this is coming to now. Steph Houghton still out in front, but she only has an 8-second lead over Melanie C. Lee Westwood is moved into third place. KP there with that little rhino emoji, 53 seconds adrift. This is absolutely fascinating. Chris Froome now only 1 minute and 50 seconds. Ramesh, they couldn't have done the handicapping better here. This is really coming together nicely, isn't it?
No, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's very nervy stuff, and I'm just waiting for my tip, Darren Gough, to make his move here. I think it's getting to about that time, and I think he's going to step up, move through the gears, and take the rest of the riders out.
Well, Mel C, it looks like she's moved to the front now. Melanie C, well, she's overtaken Steph Houghton. Game riding, though, by Steph Houghton, but we're on the plateau. This is the top of the volcano. They'll then do a little loop around the top of the volcano and head back down in the same direction. And at that point, Ramesh, they may actually see the riders coming up the climb. So Melanie C could come face-to-face with Chris Froome. You couldn't make it up.
Well, I think Mel C riding on the crest of the wave of energy she's been given by your obvious bias, Matt. And I think she's riding that all the way past Steph there.
She certainly is. She flew past Steph on the climb there. An incredible 237 watts. She's coming towards the top of the climb. This is a superb performance here. I'm wondering what she's had as a pre-race meal, because I know and I've heard on the grapevine that Darren Gough has got a Frey Bentos meat pie in the oven for the last 5 kilometres, Ramesh.
Well, I've heard that during the hill climb, Goughy's planning on tucking into that just to give him the energy he requires to get him through the final section of the race. So very excited about seeing him cross the finishing line, tucking into that pastry.
Yes, let's hope it's a very, very good quality. Let's hope it's a short cross rather than a fluffy pastry that could wreak havoc with his breathing. But this is a great shot here. Mel C coming round the top of the climb, still tapping out 177 watts. This is a quite remarkable performance. But behind her, it's really closing up. Kevin Pietersen now has moved into third place, only 36 seconds adrift. Then we have Chris Froome, only 38 seconds behind. He's shut down another minute. He is absolutely relentless, Ramesh.
So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Chris is tearing his way through this lineup here. He looks completely calm as he works his way up through this lineup. He's obviously not. He's not letting any sign of any professional pressure he might be feeling by the fact this could be one of the most humiliating experiences of his career. He's not letting that get to him at all. The fact that if he doesn't win this, it could be so embarrassing. It's breathtaking. He's still going through it. He looks very, very chilled out despite the risks.
Oh, absolutely amazing stuff there, Chris Froome. He also dropped a power-up. Now, power-ups can be used. They get power. Well, the gamification of Zwift is imperative in terms of tactics. So Chris Froome there used a power-up, which made him more aerodynamic for 15 seconds. So wise use of the power-up. And we're also looking at, I think at the moment, just going up the climb there. It's one of the other riders has just used a bit of a power up, but Chris Froome cresting the top of the climb, just going around the top of the volcano, and then it is all downhill. So only 7 kilometres to go now for our leader, Melanie C. I mean, what do you think of the chances here, Ramesh, of Melanie C? She has a 37-second gap over Chris Froome. You could not script this, could you? A Spice Girl versus a Tour de France champion in a fictitious world on Zwift. Amazing stuff.
I mean, if you'd have told me at the beginning of the day that this is how it'd pan out, I'd say, yes, it's one of a number of possible options. But it certainly is incredibly exciting stuff, Matt. It really is.
It certainly is. Well, there's Chris Froome, that wonderful helicopter shot. He's just going round the top of the climb now. He'll then, it's a bit of a plateau here. They'll then meet the finish line again at the top of the climb and come back down the volcano the way they've come. And the distance to the finish now is only 6.3 kilometres, and around 3 of that are all downhill, but the gradient isn't too steep, so the riders need to make sure they keep applying the pressure. And look at this, Kevin Pietersen. Is that Pietersen has overtaken Chris Froome? Absolutely fascinating stuff. Pietersen and Froome now neck and neck, Romesh.
This is incredible stuff here. Pietersen will not want to be beaten by Froome. Froome absolutely determined to shut Pietersen up. This is incredible stuff.
It certainly is, really putting on the power. We know he's a powerful rider, is Kevin Pietersen. Very, very strong indeed, and he did use a feather power up towards the top of the climb, just showing that he knows how to use this platform, knows how to use Zwift. That made him 9.5 kilometres lighter for 15 seconds toward the top of the climb. So a really wise strategic move by Pietersen. So now we have Melanie C out in front, 26 seconds in front of the duo of Kevin Pietersen and Chris Froome. Again, what words of wisdom, Ramesh, would you impart on Melanie C right now?
Well, I would say to Melanie C, listen, you're doing absolutely brilliantly. Matt certainly wants you to win. He's not made any kind of professional concession to showing any kind of impartiality. So use that to carry you over the line, Mel. Good luck to you.
Well, the Northern Star flying down this descent at the moment. Absolutely chipping away. Look at the power here, between 200 and 300 watts. Didn't actually know that she had it in her, but she's still there, and she's holding these two riders off. They've hardly even eaten into the lead. They've only stolen in the last couple of kilometres, Rolesh, about 5 seconds. Melanie C is really sticking it to these two riders.
Okay, Matt, we get it. You like Mel C. Dear God. I mean, this is incredible, Matt.
Yeah,
it really is.
Well, I think there's only 4 riders in the game. They're going to go back through the centre of the volcano now. Hopefully they've got an open window. It's very, very crucial these riders keep themselves nice and cool, because what we get, Romesh, in these sorts of hot conditions, especially if you have a lava flow either side, is what we call heart rate float. And that means you can't control your core body temperature. So running through a volcano, well, unprecedented scenes here.
Well, it can be an absolute nightmare. During the lockdown, I go out for a jog every now and again, and that jog does take me past the lava flow myself, and I can tell you it's no picnic.
It certainly isn't a picnic. And look at this, Kevin Pietersen hasn't even got a zip to Are we going to see that top thrown off in the last few Ks? Because it's not overly aerodynamic, I must admit. But Pietersen out of the saddle again up this little dig. It's like body blows. Froome hits Pietersen. Pietersen hits Kevin. They're on the ropes. But meanwhile, CHISHOLM still has 18 seconds. Only 4.2 Ks to go. Romesh, difficult to call.
It is very difficult to call. I mean, I really wouldn't want to tell you who I thought, because I've got no idea. It really could be any one of these 3 at this stage.
Well, let's look a little bit further down the route. 4 Ks to go now for Melanie C. Just look at the picture of determination. Absolutely. She had a bit of a mechanical earlier on, Ramesh. I mean, it's worth talking about it now. One of the pedals sheared off.
Well, she broke a pedal, but it doesn't seem to have slowed her down at all. If anything, it seems to have given her a new lease of energy. It's incredible. She's used that setback to motivate her, to push her to the very front. It's incredible stuff. And I'm running out of cliches here, Matt, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, she's feeding on that. And imagine how Chris Froome feels right now, knowing that a Spice Girl with one pedal is socking it to him. He must be a very, very nervous man, but the gap is slowly coming down. We're into the last 3,400 metres of the race. Remember, raising funds for Wheels for Heroes, and we really are seeing heroes on the road. Melanie C out of the saddle again, picks up this little bit of a drag, and then we have another little bit of a downhill section before we go underwater and into the finish. Another second has been chipped off the lead. Steph Houghton, what a ride by her, still under a minute behind, and then we have Maro Itoje in 5th place. But I think, as we said before, it is down to 3 riders: CHISHOLM, Froome and Pietersen. Still so hard to call. Again, I'm going to ask you for some more words of wisdom, Romesh. What would you say now to these 2 riders behind? Because I think they're starting to finesse, they're starting to cat and mouse and play a little bit of a tactical game here.
Well, Kevin Pietersen and Chris Froome, I know that you're taking out each other, but what I would say to you is, eyes on the prize. You're in danger of getting drawn into a battle between the 2 of you and letting Mel just ride on ahead. And the irony is, I know for a fact that Chris Froome's favourite artist is in fact the Spice Girls. It would be so terrible for him now to lose to one of them and not be able to listen to their music ever again.
Can you imagine that? And earlier on in the week, we saw Olly Murs as well, sporting a Spice World hoodie. So there's almost like a fan club in the mix of these riders. And again, another quick mention for poor old Ryan Giggs. He had a technical puncture, is out of the race. A big, big shame that we won't see the Welsh Wizard in the finale. But the 3 riders that are definitely in with a shout of winning the race are Melanie Chisholm. She has only 5.5 seconds over Pietersen, I think, has attacked Froome. Pietersen has gone on the offensive, Romesh.
This is incredible stuff. I cannot believe what we're seeing here. Is this really happening, Matt? Kevin Pietersen has stepped it up. I mean, it's not really happening. It's virtual, isn't it? But you know what I mean.
It's a kind of a weird paradox. It's real, but it's virtual at the same time. There's been nothing like this on Sky Sports before in history. A Spice Girl out in front, 2 kilometres to go. Get your hands together for Melanie Chisholm. She's only got a slender lead, 5 seconds over a flying Kevin Pietersen. Chris Froome a further 1.9 seconds behind. Is it all going to come together? Only time will tell.
Well, who knows? The only question left now is when will Darren Gough make his move? That is the big question here.
Well, Darren Gough is he's a couple of minutes back, but you never know. All it needs is another munch on that pie and a big surge on the pedal. He's a strong lad. He could kind of catapult himself back into contention, but it looks as if Kevin Pietersen, for the very first time, has got Melanie C in his sight. 3.6 seconds behind. 1,400 metres to go, Romesh.
Oh, it looks like Kevin Pietersen really wants to overtake Mel. I messed that up, but you get the idea.
That was a lovely bit of shoehorning, some of the finest shoehorning I've ever experienced in my short 3 years of broadcasting. But look at this lovely shot here, just going over the water. They'll be soon heading back into town. But Pietersen is he's not taking any prisoners at all as he reels back in the flying Spice Girl, heading into the last 1,400 metres. The big question, what's happened to Chris Froome? He's 4 seconds adrift of these two.
This is incredible stuff. Kevin Pietersen, my prediction is if he wins this, he will be unbearable. This doesn't even bear thinking about. A Pietersen victory for the rest of the group is absolutely unacceptable.
Well, he's an advocate for the welfare of conservation of endangered animals in South Africa. That's because we've got the rhino emoticon there. But what's he going to do here? Is he going to play fair? 1 kilometre to go. Froome back in the mix. Another little bit of a drag. Pietersen, Chisholm, Froome, Chisholm, Pietersen. Who is it going to be? We've got 920 metres to go. Froome goes over the top, Romesh.
Oh my gosh, this is incredible stuff.
Well, Froome has taken a flight, goes straight over the top of Kevin Pietersen. Has Froome gone too early? It's a bit of a downhill section. Then for the last 400 metres, the road just picks up all the way to the finish line in about 100 metres time, Romesh. Chris Froome will be able to see the line, but has he gone too early? Pietersen at 4 seconds, Melanie C at 5. It looks like Froome has got this in the bag.
Has Darren Gough left it too late? I think he might have done.
Well, then Gough is definitely out of the mix here, but Froome looks as if he's going to take this. But he left it very, very late indeed. 300 metres now. Romesh, take it through to the finish, mate. What a spectacle this has been.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Matt and myself both almost had him written off, but he has planned his move perfectly. And here he comes, unless something remarkable happens, riding his way to victory.
Well, Chris Froome now takes the win in the race across the line, but it's the battle for the silver and bronze. It looks like Pietersen's just going to roll Melanie C on the line. Pietersen takes silver, Melanie C into second position. Well, I don't know about you, Romesh. As we look, there's Goughy. Goughy, indeed, has left it very, very late indeed.
Yes, that's incredibly late. That is incredibly late. I can only assume that Goughy wasn't sure of exactly how long the race was. That's the only assumption I can make.
Yeah, I mean, well, there'll be a bit of a debrief afterwards, but still a great ride by every single one of these riders. It's been a great bit of entertainment, and importantly, Romesh, as well, some great money raised for a wonderful cause as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all of these guys have given up their time to do something very, very tough for a great cause. So credit to all of them. It's been brilliant.
And as we look at Steph Houghton still out on the road, the Man City and England captain still out, and she led for such a long way as well and has really found her rhythm on this course. She nearly got to the top of the climb in first position, was overtaken and overhauled towards the top, but I think it's worth commenting on a really remarkable ride by Steph Houghton, out in front for so long, but just caught near the end.
Well, it can't be easy, you know. The fact that she had the biggest handicap, you think that she's going to be the least confident of the riders, but she really did go for it, and so it genuinely has been an impressive ride by her.
And she's fighting all the way to the line, really stamping on those pedals, just showing the kind of level of fitness and, more importantly, utter determination to fight all the way to the line. She's still going. Look at this. 25 metres to go for Steph Houghton. She finally crosses the line. She'll be relieved with that as we look at Maro Itoje. A good ride by the heaviest rider here, powering down this finishing straight, but a solid performance by the Saracens player as well, Romesh.
Yeah, absolutely. And the big thing with Maro has been the power that he's put in throughout the ride has been very, very impressive. A great ride from him.
Indeed, and when you think he's had to haul his Herculean frame over that mountain, 115 kilograms, so, you know, he's conceding 30, 40 kilograms to a lot of other riders, but looking very, very good is the 25-year-old. One of the finest rugby players of his generation, of course, plays for England as well, powering down this finishing straight, keeping those watts very, very high. He hasn't missed a beat, and I think more importantly, Romesh has really paced his ride to perfection, hasn't really lagged at all, and looking good coming into the finish.
Yeah, he looks very, very relaxed indeed. So well done to him. Fantastic job.
Well, still tapping away at 25 miles an hour and well into his effort. So we're looking at kind of 45 minutes effort now. And there he is, Maro, just about to cross the line all the way. Come on, Itoje's not giving up, still pushing 300 watts. That's some big, big stats. Finally, Maro Itoje crosses the line and looks relieved. Well, I tell you what, Romesh, call Darren Gough home here.
Darren Gough, my tip for the top, and you know what? He's still my hero. Darren Gough bringing it home. Absolutely brilliant work. Stepped it up to such a level he didn't even have to rely on the pie in the end there. Sterling work from Goughy as he hydrates himself over the line. What a brilliant athlete. Checking the oven to make sure the pastry is exactly how he likes it. An absolutely incredible effort by Darren. Thank you so much, Darren Gough.
Great stuff in his kitchen. I mean, what a lovely kitchen he's got as well. Again, that lovely little bit of finesse at the end. Just checks the pie. I bet it's golden brown. This is a golden brown effort. Finally cooked by Darren Gough. He crosses the line. A superb performance as we head a little bit further down the road. We're into the last few hundred metres now for Olly Murs. 36 years of age, remember, an Essex boy, born and bred, powering through. Look at him, determined to go all the way to the line. Another superb effort by Olly Murs here, Romesh.
Absolutely. I mean, he certainly hasn't been a troublemaker on this ride. Absolutely fantastic stuff from him. Genuinely impressive. An unusual riding style in which his face looks like he's in complete agony for the entire duration, but he is putting an incredible effort here.
And he's rocking a rather superb lockdown hairdo as well, which is very important. It's all about appearances as well as grit and determination. Flying the flag for Essex. Only a couple of 100 metres, 200 metres now, Ollie. Give it a bit of a sprint there, mate. All the way to the line. So a superb effort there by the singer-songwriter who's had 11 number ones, Romesh.
A fantastic achievement. 11 number ones. Great work. I mean, would you like to name them all for me now, Matt, please?
I didn't write them down.
What a shame. What a shame.
Indeed. Kirsty Gallacher still out on the route. Superb ride here by Kirsty Gallacher. Lovely fetching kit. They're still riding at 120 watts. And again, she has not given up at all. Really riding well. She's finished London Marathon last year, mum of 2 boys, a dog and a tortoise. Come on, Kirsty.
Come on, Kirsty. Brilliant work, Kirsty. All the way to the finish line. A supreme effort by Kirsty Gallacher. Incredible work.
And you can hear all the other riders have already finished cheering on. I mean, it's been a wonderfully spirited event, this as well, Romesh, in all seriousness. We're having a lot of fun, but the spirit between these athletes, these competitors, these entertainers, has been pretty wonderful to behold, hasn't it, mate?
Yeah, they've been trash-talking each other and giving it, you know, a bit of competitive spirit. But the truth is, they've been supporting each other the whole way, and they've been getting through this together. So it's been lovely to watch.
It certainly has. And Kirsty just in through the last couple of 100 metres, and she's not missing a beat. Just turning those pedals, still well over 100 watts. Optimum cadence there, 35 kilometres an hour. She's not giving up all the way. Come on, Kirsty.
I was just going to say that is optimum cadence. Great stuff, Kirsty.
Yeah, wonderful bit of analytics there from Romesh. That's what you come to expect from Romesh, of course. And she finally crosses the line.
Well done, Kirsty. Great work.
Well, Freddie Flintoff still got a little bit to go for Freddie. Still out on the course, but he's looking ripped there. We need to get behind him, Dirt Rubbish. We need to keep that impetus going, because to be out on the road for this long, it's not easy.
It's not easy, and normally for Freddie, when we're doing, Liga Rain and stuff like that, he's got me losing behind him, and that's always that he can benefit from. Unfortunately, he's not got that. He's looking in great. I mean, look at him. I don't know if you see there, Matt. That's my face he's got on his hat. He's obviously using me as some sort of inspiration.
Well, I believe we're just going to have a chat with Kevin Pietersen and Chris Froome, the two chaps, of course, who helped put this together. Freddie Flintoff still out on the road, still tapping away quite nicely. He'll be finished shortly, but hopefully we can get a quick word with Kevin Pietersen. Of course, a superb performance for him for second place today, and the winner on the day, Chris Froome. Let's tell you a little bit of a debrief from us. I mean, Froome left it very, very late. Do you think he was ever kind of at panic mode?
Well, the truth is, Matt, is I thought he was in trouble. I genuinely did. Bearing in mind, I've got absolutely no knowledge about this whatsoever, but I did genuinely think he was in trouble. But he played it absolutely note perfect. It was an incredible ride.
He did. Well, Chris, how did you actually play that, mate? Because you seemed to leave it very, very late, because it looked for a few moments as if it was going to be between Kevin Pietersen and Melanie C. So, Chris, I mean, did you panic, or did you have it in perfect control?
I won't lie, there was a bit of panic there. I mean, especially the last few kilometres, I wasn't quite sure how well I timed it. And Mel was just flying up the road, and obviously Kevin found a second wind. And I did start doubting myself for a moment there, but amazing effort from everyone. That was incredible.
I mean, yeah, just a couple of words on the spirit between all of the riders. I mean, all of you have gone very, very deep indeed, but a couple of words on the spirit that's been shown here today.
It's been fantastic. I mean, obviously we had a little WhatsApp group set up between all of us before the race, just to get ready and set up. And
Richmond.
The banter going backwards and forwards, and I mean, it was fantastic. And I mean, everyone was really up for this. Obviously, it's an amazing cause as well. So on top of it, it's just been a fantastic event for us.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Chris. I do believe we're just going to have a quick word as well with KP. Again, he was there in the mix right at the death. Second place it was on the day for Kevin Pietersen. But Kevin Pietersen, how did that go, mate? Again, it came together right at the very end.
I tell you what a race. I cannot thank all the participants and you guys commentating, Laura presenting, Sky for putting it on. Wattbike, Zwift, I tell you what an experience to jump on board and for everybody to give us the time they've given us and to dig as deep as they did dig. I know that WhatsApp group, that could go around. There was so much competition there, and it was obviously shown on television now. Just thank you so much, and I hope we raised a great amount for the most amazing people in the NHS.
So I think despite finishing second, you're still going to crack open the bubbly.
Second sucks, unfortunately.
Great stuff.
Legend.
Great stuff. Well, guys, thank you very much indeed. And Romesh, before we head back to Laura in the studio, a final word from you, mate.
Well, it's been an absolute delight to be commentating alongside you, Matt. A genuine honour to be commentating with a legend as yourself. So thank you so much for having me on board. What a great event.
It was a lot of fun and some great money raised. I thoroughly enjoyed it myself. Thanks for having me. Back to you, Laura, in the studio. That was a lot of fun.
Matt and Romesh, thank you so much. You were absolutely brilliant, as were all of our riders. Guys, thank you. Just to reiterate what Kevin Pietersen said there, you were all superb and you've done such a good job tonight to raise money for a brilliant cause. Go and get yourselves showered off, have a little bit of a rest, and I think you can all rest assured that Kevin Pietersen doesn't have bragging rights. It's always a good thing anyway. Guys, thank you so much. And if you haven't donated already, here are the ways you can. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.